Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our webinar this morning. On behalf of TPM, I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar on SOLIDWORKS Manage. My name is Andrew White, Strategic Account Manager at TPM. Today's webinar on SOLIDWORKS Manage will be given by Mike DeKoning, Senior Technical Solutions Consultant at TPM. Mike has been with TPM for over 3 years now with a focused attention on data management solutions. Prior to TPM, Mike was the PDM admin for over 13 years for a Fortune 500 company, cutting his teeth on PDM Works in 2007 and has over 2 decades of machine design experience. Mike has a degree in industrial management, which is particularly relevant to today's presentation as it includes operations management, quality control, marketing, and economics, which are key elements outside of traditional engineering design. So here's our agenda for today. One quick note that outside of questions, which I already addressed, our demo will illustrate SOLIDWORKS Manage at a very high level. We'll reserve more in-depth discussions on an individual basis. At the conclusion of this, we can set something up with your individual reps to discuss about how Manage would work in your specific environments. And without further ado, please welcome Mike DeKoning.
Hey, thanks, Andrew. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for taking the time to attend our webinar today. I know everybody's extremely busy, but hopefully you'll find this beneficial. So I want to start with a few concepts. PDM and PLM. So you hear those two acronyms thrown around. So by definition, PDM is product data management. So it's very engineering centric. It's so everything's centered pretty much around the engineering product development, and it's document centric. So in a PDM system, the document is where you store all of the information that's going to be available within a PDM system. You have version and revision control, so you can go back in history and see how a design has evolved. And revisions mark those versions, which are extremely important because those are the drawings that you want to produce your products from. And then you have security and permissions control. It requires a login, and then the permissions are assigned to allow users to do certain actions, and perhaps more importantly, to actually deny them from doing some actions. So what about PLM, Product Lifecycle Management? This includes teams outside of engineering, so it's going to expand its reach into other portions of your company. And PLM is centered on items, so the information really goes along with items. Now, those items can have documents, but they don't necessarily have to have documents associated with them. And PLM includes tools to address the product lifecycle, which where lifecycle comes in. So kind of the from inception to obsolescence. So you hear sometimes cradle to grave is mentioned with PLM. So why do we need data management? Well, here's a list of a few reasons why. I think these are probably pretty apparent, and in your case, you probably can think of some other ones as well of why data management is important to companies. So PDM and PLM, let's cover a little bit of the kind of the benefits and the challenges of these products. So PDM is not full PLM, so it doesn't cover the complete life cycle of your product. And sometimes it's perceived as not being capable enough. And you actually see some companies try to take their PDM and do things that perhaps it wasn't designed to do, and that can be somewhat challenging. But for a low entry cost, PDM brings a lot of benefits to the table, and here's some of them that I've listed that are benefits for PDM. and I'll let you go through those. PLM challenges. So typically PLM it takes a long implementation, months, sometimes years, as opposed to PDM implementations. We're talking about weeks to implement a PDM system. Administration and upgrades can be more challenging with a PLM system. Not inclusive. What I mean by that is that with some PLM systems, you're not going to get all of the capabilities that perhaps you need. In some cases, you may have to actually purchase additional modules with that PLM system in order to get some capabilities that you desire. And for that reason, for the reasons above, you have kind of a higher total cost of ownership associated with PLM. But you have the benefits of PLM, control requirements management, project management, bills of materials, and compliance are 4 areas where PLM brings those benefits above PDM. So in the landscape, if you will, of PDM and PLM systems, going from the base, which is perhaps less capable, less costly, and easier to implement, to the higher level where you increase all of those things. You start with kind of a work group data management solution, which is really for an individual engineering group or a single site. Above that's an enterprise level, so multi-site companies with large engineering departments. And then you go to enterprise level PLM or lifecycle management. So this is multidisciplinary groups are involved with the PLM. Within the Dassault Systems family of solutions, those relate to SOLIDWORKS PDM Standard, which is more of a work group solution, SOLIDWORKS PDM Professional, which is the enterprise level product data management, and then Innovio, which is an enterprise level PLM system from Dassault Systems. But what we're going to talk about is something that actually kind of bridges PDM and PLM, and that's SOLIDWORKS Manage. So what SOLIDWORKS Manage does is it provides many of the benefits of PLM without those challenges that we talked about earlier. So SOLIDWORKS Manage is actually based on SOLIDWORKS PDM, and it brings 4 capabilities above what you get with a PDM system. Now, this is fully integrated. It's not a bolt-on, so it just leverages the capabilities that we've come to appreciate over the years with SOLIDWORKS PDM and adds these capabilities in an integral fashion. So for those of you who aren't familiar, SOLIDWORKS PDM provides workflows which can have states, and that allows your documents to go through certain statuses or states to show you where the document is in the design and the progress of that. Once it reaches a state of approved, then automation kicks in, and we can increment revisions, output other types of documents such as PDF or DXF files. And because SOLIDWORKS PDM understands the bill of material from SOLIDWORKS, that engineering BOM can then be output into your corporate ERP system. So you have precise document control providing secure access. Users without SOLIDWORKS CAD itself can also preview files and look at bill of materials in PDM. And you have the workflow automation that allows you to automatically revision manage documents and generate other output. So let's talk about the unique capabilities of SOLIDWORKS Manage. Projects. So this is an integrated tool inside of Manage, as opposed to being something external. You may have another tool right now, but this brings all the capabilities of any of your typical project management tools. You have stages and you assign resources to those stages, users input their progress, and then the project tracking allows project managers to make informed decisions. And we have project templates that allow you to create new projects quickly. So you have no need for a separate project management tool when you have SOLIDWORKS Manage. You can assign resources and add deliverables to the project stages, track progress, issues, and risks. You can also view resource capacity and utilization with project management inside SOLIDWORKS Manage. Processes. So without a PLM system, processes are often defined in disconnected tools, if any, and a lot of processes in business don't even begin with a document. One example is a new product introduction process, or a stage gate. So at each stage, there's a go or no go that allows a product to continue on along that path towards going into production. And as we all know, sometimes we don't even make it past the ideation stage of a new product introduction. Another process is change management. This is one that we attempt to emulate in PDM with limited success. So it's a challenge to add affected documents and move them together in the workflow. Another challenge is the desire to have separate documents for requests, orders, and notifications. And unfortunately, in PDM, those separate documents cannot take information and pass them forward to those other documents. So they're somewhat disconnected. So items that we have in SOLIDWORKS Manage provide greater flexibility to meet these challenges. So any business process can be modeled in SOLIDWORKS Manage, such as a first article inspection or a quality management process. And processes, the stages in processes can trigger the PDM state change in the workflow we talked about earlier. So SOLIDWORKS Manage is the trigger for the state change in PDM. And we're bringing together information and data from separate sources that might be used for different processes in your organization. So what do we mean by advanced bills of material? Well, we can create items like paint and grease and thread locker and others and include them in the correct quantities. Engineering bills of materials can be transformed into manufacturing, shipping, or kitting BOMs by rearranging or adding items like packaging. And variants allow alternate components to be specified for other manufacturing locations. Any bill of material, regardless of the type, can be created in SOLIDWORKS Manage and transmitted to ERP. And additionally, production data such as cost can be returned to update items inside SOLIDWORKS Manage. So transform your CAD bills of materials to create ones needed by other teams, and create alternative bills of materials to mitigate supply chain issues. And we have enabled two-way communication with ERP or MRP systems. Dashboards. Dashboards display visual data to provide insight into operations, review progress, and evaluate performance. So here's an example of a project's dashboard. Dashboards are unlimited and completely customizable and they can be created based on your needs. So graphical and grid objects are available to create charts and lists. Use of color helps to determine critical information. So here is a new product introduction dashboard. All of the information in SOLIDWORKS Manage is available and updates regularly. And dashboards can also display information pulled from other database-driven systems as well. Along with dashboards, reports allow you to output information from the system to create different types of reports that you need for your organization. They have different elements like barcodes, graphics, and color. And these processes can actually, processes and projects can actually trigger the report generation. So dashboards give all users visibility to the information affecting them. And KPI dashboards can show progress towards targets and goals. Analyze data to optimize your organizational performance. So what I'd like to do right now is show you SOLIDWORKS Manage. As Andrew mentioned, it's kind of a high-level demo, but it's going to illustrate some of the things that we've talked about before. So, like I said, we start with the foundation, SOLIDWORKS PDM. And as you can see, the user can preview a SOLIDWORKS file, and they also have access to the engineering bill of materials coming from SOLIDWORKS. You can see a little preview there of a component. SOLIDWORKS Manage is completely integrated, so we can open the record directly from this PDM component. And once it's open, then we see all the same information that we're gathering. We can see the bill of materials here. So this is, again, the engineering bill of materials from SOLIDWORKS. Tasks are a great way to let users know different things that they need to work on in order to keep things going. So we've got a task to add thread locker and some 16 gauge wire to the engineering bill of materials. So we need to check out the SOLIDWORKS assembly. And once that's checked out, then we're going to go over to the bill of material, and we're going to now, well, I wanted to show you, here's you can display those images permanently if you want to. So now we're going to go and edit the BOM. And I'm going to add some components, the thread lock and the wire. And I have a library, and I've got a filter there for commodities. So happens the thread locker is right on top. So I'm going to add that to my engineering bill of material. And I'm also going to choose that 16 gauge wire. And in this case, I'm going to have a quantity of 3 because the units are feet. So we wanted 3 feet of 16 gauge wire. So now that I'm done with my edits, you'll see that those components have been added to the bill of material. And now if I save that, that's available for anyone in SOLIDWORKS Manage to see. And I'm going to go ahead and now check that in. And once I do that, then I'm going to go back into the SOLIDWORKS PDM system. And as I said, we have complete integration with Manage. So here's the information from Manage. I'm going to choose tasks, and I'm going to go in and mark this task as complete since I've taken care of that one. So here's another example of the bills of material. In this case, we're going to work with a shipping BOM. And so what I want to do, I want to show you the report. So here's a report of that shipping BOM, and you see we've got graphics, we've got barcodes, we even have a total here that sums up the cost for the everything on the shipping bill of material. But what I want to do right now is go ahead and create a variant. So I'm going to open the shipping BOM here. And you see right here, I have an EU BOM, but it's completely empty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the US BOM and I'm going to take all the objects from it and I'm going to add those to my EU BOM. Here's my shipping BOM. Copy that over. So this is a duplicate of my bill of material, but I happen to know that I'm going to have to change the supplier for the motor. So I'm going to use a filter to quickly find that motor. And then I'm going to go in and select Gates Corporation because I know that's the source for the motor when I'm in for the EU BOM. And then I'm going to clear the filter so I can see everything. There's another change I need to make actually, because that cardboard box, the size is in inches. And since it's an EU BOM, I need to actually go replace that with a box that's sized for Europe. So I happen to know that my packaging is all starts with PK, and there is the box that I want to use with the metric units. And so once I've added that and I save that, I've created my variant for EU. And to show you the difference, we can actually easily compare bills of materials. So on the left is going to be the US, and on the right is going to be the EU BOM, and you'll see the difference at the top there, the side, excuse me, the box. And then also you're going to see down at the bottom there, we've added Gates Corporation for that motor. So you can easily compare bills of materials, variants, and so forth inside of your SOLIDWORKS Manage. Now this is one I really love. Here's a component that we got the bill of material for this component actually as an Excel spreadsheet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go find that Excel spreadsheet. I've got to edit that first. So now I'm going to go find that Excel spreadsheet. And this spreadsheet contains information about all of the components or the bill of materials of this PCB board. So once I select that worksheet, now I get a preview, and you're going to see that it found all of the records in Manage except that last item. It's actually going to be added as a text line, and you see that indicated by the blue diamond. Well, the problem is that the part number was not specified correctly, so Manage didn't understand that. But I can use my library and filter on the description because I know that description is correct. So here's actually, it was supposed to be an EL061. So now I've related that to my item in SOLIDWORKS Manage. And so I'll save that bill of material. Go ahead and close that. So this is a way to take information from spreadsheets or other systems and bring those into SOLIDWORKS Manage. So I want to go ahead and add that to my BOM that exists. So there's a shortcut menu on the right side there. And so I'm going to go ahead and open that record, that shipping BOM that I had a few minutes ago. And once I open that, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the bill of material that I just imported from that spreadsheet. So I'll remember to click Edit this time. And so we could use this add simple operation. So that's going to allow me to quickly go find that item in my library. And there it is right there, the motor controller and laser guide. And so I'm just going to add and close because that's all I'm going to add this time. And so you see that at the bottom of the bill of material. And if I expand that, you also see the components that were brought in from that spreadsheet. So I want to talk a little bit about processes now. So I'm going to go to a record here. Now this is actually a project. So to show a project here. So here's the Gantt chart. Should be very familiar with if you're working with your project management tool of choice. And so you see we've got all of the information from the planning. You'll see the black bar and the blue denotes the progress that we've made on the project itself. So I want to go look at this project right here, where I'm going to review this development project. I'm going to go ahead and mark that as completed. And now here are the deliverables that I brought along with that project. So I've attached those. Now, you also have the capability to have issues for a project, so things that might impact a project's progress, as well as risks. So we have a risk right here. I want to look at that. So we may need to use a contract manufacturer as a mitigation for that risk. So if we go back to issues, or I'm sorry, to risks, these are all the risks for my projects, and this one in particular is critical here. So review alternate suppliers. So this gives me an opportunity to keep track of everything that is impacting my projects in SOLIDWORKS Manage. So SOLIDWORKS Manage allows you to encompass your design lifecycle. Document and project management, processes and dashboards, advanced bill of materials, all included in an integral solution without the challenges of enterprise PLM. Will allow your organization to encompass the entire design lifecycle. So next steps. Assess what's working and what's not. Sorry about that. Identify gaps in your current operations using disconnected tools, got manual processes, siloed systems. Talk with our team. We'll be happy to discuss how SOLIDWORKS Manage can help your organization meet the challenges of today, and then plan, commit, and execute. So with that, Andrew, I wanted to ask you, do we have any questions?
Mike, thank you very much. Yes, we've got a couple questions, and I'll just run down the list as I have them. What would be the reason to go with a full PLM solution like Windchill or Innovia over Manage?
Well, really it boils down to kind of what capabilities you need. If SOLIDWORKS Manage provides you the capabilities for your organization that you really desire, you don't necessarily have to go that next step to that enterprise level PLM system. Because like I said, typically there's cost involved, whether it's additional modules, you know, the time it takes to implement the solution, and again, that total cost of ownership. But we'll be glad to discuss that, and we're certainly looking to right size a solution for your organization. So hopefully that answered that question.
All right. Can I have a biodirectional link between Manage and ERP?
Yes, well, that question may have been asked before I got to that slide, but yes, there's a bidirectional communication between SOLIDWORKS Manage and your ERP or MRP system, for that matter. And if there's a follow-up to that, maybe I missed something. If you have a follow-up to that, go ahead and type that into the questions. But yes, there's a bidirectional capability with SOLIDWORKS Manage.
All right. How does Manage handle multiple change requests when they all tie back to one change order or multiple change order notices?
Okay, I think that, so let me see if I can understand that or maybe answer your question. So like we saw with a, or like I mentioned, with an engineering change, you can associate items such as CAD documents or other types of documents with that change. And if you have another engineering change, that same document or CAD design can be associated with a different engineering change. So there's no restriction as to how many changes can be associated with a particular CAD file, and vice versa. So an engineering change can be associated to multiple designs as well. So hopefully that answers again. If you have a follow-up to that, please enter it in the questions there. And Andrew, if you see a follow-up to that, let me know. Okay.
Sounds good. Those are the only questions that I had that I see. Does anyone else have any questions that are still on the line that you'd like to have addressed?
Doesn't seem like it.
All right, sounds good. Well, I think we got everything covered off. Mike, thanks again for this presentation. It was very informative. Please bear in mind that this is being recorded, and each one of you attending will get a copy of this recording, and feel free to share it with anybody else in your organization that needs it. Please reach out to us if you have any additional questions or requests. As I mentioned earlier, we're happy to do more of an in-depth customized conversation with you based on your specific company's needs. And just really appreciate everybody's time. Thanks very much.
Thanks, everybody. I appreciate your time. Have a good day.